you ready?
This is the D-Generation cliX podcast. Here are your hosts, Ryan Redmond, Miles Kane, and Daniel Schwab.
Welcome back to the D-Generation cliX podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me again are Miles, Dan, and Pete. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Real good.
Yeah, it's nice to be dry.
Yeah, we might be getting tornadoes later over here.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
And then also joining us tonight is our first ever guest, Aaron Morgan. How are you doing?
I'm good. Pardon my screaming child. But yeah, man, I'm good.
So, Aaron, do you want to just give us a background of kind of what you do for the ROC and Silver Age and all that?
So the main thing I do for the ROC is I'm the head judge. Beyond that, I help make some layouts for the maps you guys play on. And between me and WizKids, we kind of define what Silver Age is. We've been working a lot on that, and that's why I can't just immediately fix certain things, because I definitely have hoops I need to jump through first.
How long have you been doing that for?
I took over ROC head judge 2019.
Oh, that long then. Okay.
Yeah, so all the online stuff was me, or like judging wise, and then the thing with the WizKids picked up as far as Silver Age go within the last 2 years. Before that, I was helping at Worlds and Nationals and stuff like that as a judge anyway, so it kind of just happened.
Okay. Well, 3 weeks ago was the ROC Cup, which was it had a couple of really heavy silver-focused events. How do you feel that went overall? Because that was really the biggest silver event that's happened, I think, right?
Yeah, that was our biggest one to date for sure. Overall, I'm actually really happy. You know, it's not melting anymore. I saw what I wanted to see. I saw a diverse field. Yeah, there was Legacy Thanos, and yeah, there was the Tri-Sentinel builds. But at the beginning of the rounds, like, we really did have a wide open field. It wasn't just Kongs. It wasn't just Tri-Sentinels. Like, people showed up. I was like, all right, this is it then.
What was the?
So I'm actually really happy. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I'm sorry. What was the total amount of players again? Was it 60 something?
60 something for Silver Age Worlds, yes, sir.
Okay. So just jumping right into it. Currently, I know you're kind of against changing this, but silver is 400 points, 50% of the build needing to come from just non-modern elements. And what is your reasoning for keeping it at 400?
All right, so I reached out to Lucas. I'm going to quote him from Critical Clix, actually.
Is he a new player?
Quote, but it's... No, God, no.
I'm just kidding.
Lucas has been around for a while. I will give him his credit due for being our world champion for sure. I actually have like a cabal chat for the ROC that's like him and PJ and David Newmark and a few other people. And I kind of actually like throw stuff out to get a mixed reaction for certain things. Silver up front to meta players is like, it's just too much. It's just not, there's too many actions, there's too many interactions, and it's gonna take that time to get it right. And up until the ROC Cup, we didn't really have a whole lot of data to balance the sheets, basically. I knew what players currently in the modern era were complaining about. Like, I don't want to have a repeat of Vulture Prime ever, where he just never went away. So we looked at the most played figures, the most oppressive figures, things that had weird interactions and broken loopholes, and we just kind of sat it down. Can't say benched when I talk about that, but temporary ban lists. It felt fresh, and yeah, certain things rose to the top. I knew Blackheart would come around. Blackheart and a Soul Sword was the thing I thought I would see, but Blackheart with Chthon actually ends up being the real problem. And that's kind of just the way it is you've got to look at everything, and until we can just focus it more, it's going to be the Wild West. But let me quote Lucas real fast before I keep rambling. So on their episode where they talked about the Cup, he said, major meta players say they aren't a fan of the format, and more casual players like it because it allows them to play stuff that they normally wouldn't be allowed to play, like bigger figures, stuff like that, right? And so I'll take that quote and run with it forever. Because what happened was the opposite of what everyone said at the beginning when I started publicly talking about where I wanted to go. I didn't really hide that I wanted 400 points. Meta players were saying I was gatekeeping the newer players. And so if the champion of my format says the more casual players love it, so I made a format for new players that meta players can play in. And that feels to me like a win. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I think it is a win, totally.
Yeah. Aaron, I want to say I'm really impressed with the amount of work that you guys do for the silver format. It is not my chosen format because I get a little overwhelmed with it. But it is like you guys are constantly providing information and updates, and it's impressive to see how involved you guys are in maintaining what I consider to be the most difficult HeroClix format, because modern's modern, right? We know the sets in modern, but in silver,
right.
It's like you said, the Wild West, and you guys have done a great job. So kudos to you.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. So the other thing I would say is I've been really vocal about the mission points interactions. I'm sorry, Spencer. I have a fix. We're going to go over that soon, and hopefully that kind of curbs them down some. But we had the opportunity at the Cup for things worse than the Tri-Sentinel build to be played. And for players to reach out to me and go, hey, this is broken, should I not? And maybe like, I would really like you not to, and just like find something in the format that's good and playable and fun, and play it instead. And for them to show up with what I asked for, I think that speaks volumes for the players that want to be in this format.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it shows respect too. Like that's huge. Is that they could have been not listened to you and everything. The fact that they listened to you and respected, it shows tons.
Right, and so there's growth. We have really good feedback with the community. I don't hide. I try to pop in on every post or podcast or anything that talks about silver because I want the public's input. And I want them to know somebody's listening and somebody's like working. So it's like basically another 9 to 5 for me at this point, where I'm always talking to either WizKids or like you guys or my own little team of judges I've got.
Which that's what keeps it healthy.
There, man. Yeah, it really does, and it's just gonna keep getting better. And if we find more broken things, we can fix more broken things.
And I know you want to keep it at 400 points. Has anything been looked at as far as making it 75% non-modern or just 100% non-modern?
So I think the floor is the right way to go. Again,
absolutely.
I don't want to. The 200. I mean, as far as I still have to worry about the new players, and while rotation is inbound and new players are always joining the game, I don't want to ever cut them completely out for like 2 years, right? It's like if somebody starts tomorrow, what's happening at rotation this year, he might have access to or he might not. So 200 of each sounds fair. I will say that I'm gonna throw that on the sideline more than likely as well, and that will also curb some teams that like to loophole and be modern and beat the system basically. And I want to stop that. Like you're not playing the format it's meant to be played. You're just showing up and then fixing it to be modern, and we're gonna stop that.
Okay. So as far as like swap teams and stuff like that, the pieces on your sideline, if there's, or there'd be 8 slots, then 4 would have to be modern and 4 would have to be silver.
Yes.
Okay.
Would you not drop it down like they did with or well, no, I guess that would be equivalent, right? Because it's 2 slots per 100 points in modern right now, so that would, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's not going anywhere, right? Where you would keep it at 8 for sure.
You know, with everything that is in silver for sideline, 8 feels right. And then if I do the split again, it feels healthy as well. It just mimics all the way through the format.
Okay. Now, I swear the X-Men Rise and Fall Professor X was on the initial silver ban list. Was he never on there?
He was. And then I got to put Apocalypse and Genesis on there, and we felt he should just stay. With Apocalypse and Genesis, the X-Men roster becomes almost infinite, especially in silver. So by curbing them for a year, we could let him run in. And in reality, outside of the one build we're definitely going to talk about later, because I got to slap somebody's hand for it, wasn't really played.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't
that was
see
the only
any other
Professor
Professor
X
X's,
swap
right?
that was even on there, right?
I'm assuming a lot of other people thought he
the
was banned, because I asked a lot of other people, and everyone else was looking for it also. They were looking through old articles, and nobody anywhere could find it. I even talked to Clay, who took him off the ban list, obviously. Or I don't know. What do you remember when he was taken off?
It was right before the announcement happened. But remember, a lot of the stuff that was out there before the official announcement with the WizKids happened was me just being vocal. Like, hey, let's try this. Let's do this. The Texas guys have this version of my build, my ban list going, and they're going to run an event really big and see how it goes. That's how I got the Ultra Chase Thanos errata in play, was like, it's been played. It's not overly broken. It's strong, but it's not the end all.
Okay.
Yeah, which is good.
So a lot of that is like, you remember me talking somewhere about it and be like, yeah, we're looking at him, or yeah, we're doing this, and we just kind of had to work through it with WizKids to have a real reason for stuff to be there. Some of it really was like, these are the most played figures in any format right now, and they need to just not be here so we can have something new rise.
Okay, well, I at least feel better that I know that he was on there and I wasn't imagining it, because we could not find any trace of him being mentioned on there.
Yeah.
Has there been any consideration of silver going to Highlander just to prevent like multiples of Tri-Sentinels or anything like that?
Well, so we have Theme. Theme is technically Silver Age, but it's not really grown a lot. People use it, but look at the events that get talked about. It's always hit or miss. Like, they'll do Theme and maybe they have a really low turnout, or they do Theme and it's really more casual level stuff.
Okay.
So I think for like a world championship, it needs to just be like silver in general. I don't mind having it as an alternate format for the ROC though. Like, hey, our guys really don't like the non-Highlander. Well, all right, well, you can do Theme, and then that's your balance, right? It limits some of the madness in the format.
Okay. And then where are you at with maps as far as going to all 16 by 16, or just keeping it open with big and small for the future?
So for now, we will definitely stay big and small. Some of our characters and mechanics look for purple starting areas. Some figures just don't work on a small map at all, not like they were intended. And for some players, that's a good thing. And for some players, it's like, I really like this figure, and now we're going to make it to where it either goes back on my shelf and I never touch it again, or I have the ability to play it. So I do think I'm going to do a curated map list sometime in the future, like the best of the best for the ROC and some of WizKids' maps. That might get us closer to a smaller map pool, but I've already updated our map lists quietly after Worlds anyway. Some things will be removed, some things will be unbanned.
Okay, so there are actually
just keep an eye on that.
There's a chance that some of the maps will actually come off the ban list.
Yes, with heavy consideration. There's one that'll probably never come off because it's way too broken currently in the rules. And that one is the Bifrost.
Okay.
Because currently it's like originally we all played it to where when you walked into the Bifrost and stopped, you took the one unavoidable and you got put back on the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got punished on that map when I started playing, and that was not fun.
So in reality, it's for every square you got moved into the Bifrost. So 1 click for each square you walked into.
So we should
That's
expect
rough,
that
right?
one. Yeah, we should expect that one to not come back.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, no, like that one won't ever come back because of that, unless they change wording in another place. But so I mean, there are maps that I'm a fan of. They're like, man, this did cool things and helped us against certain figures, and I just can't justify being like, it's because I like it, guys. So,
what about Ancient Hold?
That's me and Howard.
Is that a possible one?
That's one of my favorite maps for Starro. I'm not gonna lie. But the reason I really did like it was not all the blocking. It was because it had a mechanic we didn't have a lot of with the doors.
Sure.
And I don't understand why HeroClix players couldn't wrap their brain around doors and windows.
Well, even in real life, they're really confusing.
You're right, absolutely right there. Yeah.
I feel personally attacked because I'm one of the HeroClix players that's never been able to figure out a door or a window the whole time. A windows I grasp finally. Doors are still like I don't even know what I can do here. Do I stop here? Do I go through here? Can I punch you from here? It's not great. It's not a good look for me. So.
My favorite thing I used to do to my locals was, all right, we're in a room and there's a door. Can you punch me through that door? If you can't, we're going to go with the assumption that even if you're on the other side of the door, you still can't hit me. And sometimes you just had to be that blunt. And then the WizKids walked away from the idea of doors and windows really after, FUFO came out?
Yeah, they were pretty much gone after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, man, I really wish we would have kept them somehow and just caught. Instead of being like, throw it away.
Yeah, I like the mechanic.
And after Ancient Hold came up, I got some cold sweats. Not even lying to you. It's terrible. So many bad games on that map.
Right. Well, and then think about what's loose in Silver now with like Legacy Thanos or for now currently Mern. And it's like, cool, you just can't hide and it's a pain to get to me.
Right.
And Barrier exists. So... yeah, stuff like that's probably gone as well. We're just not... I want it to be healthy, and that includes the maps. So, eventually, 16 by 16, when I feel the pool is big enough on both sides of the field for us and for WizKids, and then I'll still probably have a few big maps in play in general. I like location bonus maps, and the only reason I've deleted any of those is because we have a smaller version without the bonus. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but... trying to stay close to WizKids' ideology of if there's a smaller version, you have to play it. So there you go. That's me slowly working that way.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Because that's what I've been telling a lot of people up here in Oregon. Because they try to ask, why is this banned? And I said, well, because there's a smaller version available. But yeah, it's always because they want the map bonus.
Yeah, that makes good sense. Yeah. And that kind of answers one of my questions I was going to ask you is like in the format that you're the main judge for, have you ever considered like on Bifrost altering the map? Like saying, well, that's how it works and worded, but in this format, it only does like, it doesn't matter where you end up in the Bifrost. You only take one unavoidable damage every turn you're there. Have you considered altering that stuff?
I want to acknowledge something, and I feel like I do. It's going to get worse until I can deal with it. We'll talk about Prime Hulk. He's a better example. How about that?
All right.
So if Bifrost works the way I just said it was, then Prime Hulk is worse with a Mutt's Tomb because of how, like, moving a character works. Right? Based on what I said about Bifrost.
Right.
Because if each interaction of the action I walk through a wall, I should be technically ticking it up, right?
Right.
So what else can do that that's a problem right now?
Still.
Hopefully somebody picks up on it, and I'll leave it at that. But no one plays it that way. Nobody. And I was so happy nobody brought it up at the Cup. Because they could have, and they would have been right. I was like, let's hope it doesn't happen. And it didn't. So I was really happy.
So probably,
technically, it's worse. It's way worse.
So we'll probably leave that buried then.
So, yeah, we're just going to leave it there. And there's just a lot when you really get to brass tacks about certain things and interactions. So much.
Well, with all the information that you were kind of able to gather from the weekend, you were working on an updated like bench ban list, right?
Yes, sorry, I want to make sure I actually answered his question. Are you good with how I responded to that?
No, that's good. I mean, I'm still curious as to what you were alluding to, but, you know, that's all good, man. I appreciate the answer. Yeah.
Message me afterward, and I'll talk to you about it.
You're going to probably
Sounds
get
good.
like 100 messages now.
That's fine.
Oh, probably at least 100.
No, not from you, from 99 other people that want to know the broken interaction so they can use it.
Exactly.
Right, but if it's not him, I won't answer it.
Okay.
There we go. See? Yeah, insider information here, boys. Yeah.
Insider, but not to be used for evil. All right, so the update to the bench list. Let me pull that up.
Well, so when would that go live?
There's a couple of things I'm trying to push through now. One of the things specifically would be the trader style figures, because they're my biggest problem with mission point builds.
Okay.
Yeah, those were definitely that I noticed was going to be a problem even before with the older mission point stuff, and now it's like, oh yeah, they're still kind of just there in the background.
Right, and so out of the builds that could have shown up, those were definitely like on them, and I was like, please stop, just let it alone. But yeah, where do you want to start?
Well, is there going to be like overall like an official date for when the bench or ban list will rotate?
Yes, so I keep my stuff pretty much lined up with official Memphis Worlds. That was the original plan, and it still gives me of almost a year's worth of events to be like, look, it's real bad, we gotta fix it. And that's more data that they can't really fight me on unless they just want something to stay. Which a couple of those things happened last time, but we'll get there.
So kind of expect like one big one a year, but if there's an issue, things can change throughout the year.
Yes, because of the communication I have with the people at WizKids, like the traders I just talked about, we should hear something about that soon in the coming months, before Worlds, I hope, so nobody can show up at Memphis and be like, turn one, have a good day.
I think a handful of those are silver, right? Anyway, the traders, I think there's only a couple that aren't.
All of them are silver.
Oh, they are now. Okay.
Yeah, all are silver, but there are going to be silver events at Worlds, so that's why I'm still like pushing.
Okay.
I think the only current one that I know of is Mockingbird for being a trader, right? I think she's.
Oh, she's silver too. She rotated already.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, she did.
Yep.
She was.
Oh, there's the Empire one. Yeah, I'm thinking of the other one.
So after you listened to the last podcast, you kind of heard my concerns on running a competitive Silver Age event in July before the new official updates to the ban list occurred. And then we're going to change it to Modern. So you kind of reached out to me and suggested still running Silver and then testing a potential bench or ban list changes and just kind of seeing the feedback for the players with those changes. So let's go over those pieces that you mentioned. First, I don't think there's going to be anyone that is mad about this one, but is the tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
So glad.
Yeah.
What was the
a lot of
behind
people. Well, again, it's a free game element. For real, it's a free game element that definitely affects gameplay.
Oh yeah, it certainly does.
So it really comes down to they're the most played thing in Modern. I don't know a lot of teams that don't have tarot, and usually the ones that don't get murdered by the ones who do.
Have you heard one person be sad about it? About not having them.
Actually, well, so again, there's that trade-off, right? Like, here I am being the guy who can be like, no, it's fine, it can stay. Because I like tarot cards in general, and that goes beyond like HeroClix as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like collecting this deck I have a deck of tarot cards from a comics storyline I like.
Okay.
But they can also be played in this game I like. And they enhance certain characters and let them be more playable than they already were. And then they over the top enhance things that are problems now. And then, so it's like, all right, I have to draw that line. I know they need to go. They at least be sat out for a year. I have an idea for when they could potentially come back, which I can't go into, but I am looking into that to make it an adjustment to them if I'm able to. And, you know, every other podcast I listen to in general is like, I really hate tarot cards. I really hate tarot cards. I really hate tarot cards. So I hear it, guys. I'm going to do something.
I just think they've had their time, and I'm not a tarot card player because I don't like the chaos that they introduce into the game state. Like, I'm trying to limit chaos to do what I want to do with my team. That's always been my thing with them. And inevitably, and it's 100% just my own personal experience of like the tarot card I don't need comes up and my opponent gets the tarot card out of my deck that they need, and then their own tarot card that they need. And suddenly I'm just sitting there going, I killed myself. What am I doing here with these things? So I do not like them. I do not play them. So that's my 2 cents on it.
See, I like tarot cards. We play with them for our monthly events, and they're a lot of fun. And like you said, they enhance certain characters. So sometimes if I build a team for like a fun event on a Monday or something, I'll play worse pieces, and then I'll play tarot cards to make them less terrible. I think I'm just done with them like in the competitive world of that. So I'm glad to see them, gone out of the competitive aspect of it.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, let me say this. Every one of these is potential. So we're not guaranteed they'll let me do it, but this is stuff I am definitely looking at. Sorry, I forgot to say that.
Who do I have to Venmo to make that one happen? Just a list of people. I'm open to suggestions, just hypothetically speaking. So
as a joke response, let's hope it's not the guy who made Vulture Prime. I kid you not. We went after him so many times, and he was untouchable. So let's hope that guy didn't make these, and then I can work on them. But yeah. I think we'll be okay. I don't think anybody's going to really buck at it, but you never know. That one guy at the right place in the company could be like, no, tarot cards forever.
That is true. That could be a thing. I guess, yeah, I like more of the stuff that's on board versus stuff that just sits there and isn't on board. So I guess for me, that's something that I will not mind seeing them go.
I am going to pin that comment when I come back to something later that's going to get me fussed at by so many people. But remember you said that.
Interesting.
So the next potential ban is Ghost Rider 48.
All right, so I'm gonna hit two birds with one stone here, because of the fact that she won. So Ghost Rider 48, right? He's really good, but he also stops your opponent from doing the things he built his team to do. And with things like Agatha, that's great because now my whole team still functions like it should. But there's interactions there where it's like I can't actually use my equipment because it says you can't use this stuff. Oh, stupid Ghost Rider. He's not as predominant as I thought he would be, so he may just kind of not be on this list when the time comes. But for now, it's something I'm definitely watching because he can lead to some weird interactions.
Okay.
I can only imagine with Silver and his ability to completely change how some things interact. Yeah, I mean,
Well, I think that's going to be the main problem with Ghost Rider is that he's not played a lot right now. But if you look at the trickle down effect of like the banning or not banning, but benching of certain figures,
oh yeah,
and his play will just skyrocket beyond belief. Because yeah, he's really good.
Right, so it's that whole trade off, right? Did I remove something and he becomes the almighty, or does he just kind of sit out with everybody else too?
Right. Next is the Beyond Amazing Prime Spider-Man.
I don't think this is a surprise to many people.
He's been running it for a
I'm
while.
surprised for this long. I figured it would
Did you did you release, or was there an update to what was already previously banned for ROC and Silver, and like what got pulled back already, or no?
No. So I am constantly working on stuff for Silver. So this is all based on what I could potentially do for 2024. So we're actually going over a list of like these are the things I'm watching currently right now.
Oh, okay. Because I would think if he goes on the bench or ban list, then something else could come off that was previously benched. Because I think there was the interaction between the two that I was like, oh well, that's a problem. But
so I think we're thinking of the same item, and yeah, it's in our discussion down the line.
Thanks, Dan, for spoiling that one.
Yeah,
didn't even mention it by name, but you know.
Nope. Thanks, Dan.
We'll get there, Dan. We'll get there.
But basically, just he's been super prominent for a while, right? So just giving him a break, kind of like some of the other pieces from last year.
Yeah. And with me unleashing an item soon, I definitely don't want him around when that happens, because then he just annihilates people and removes more game elements or game powers even.
Right.
With his ability to maneuver.
And then on the next potential changes, would see the Masters of Evil chases getting benched.
Yeah, I think they've definitely seen a lot of play. They're kind of the staple, and we look at King Killmonger as a good. Oh, hold on.
The Masters of Evil chases are like two favorite chase sets are that one and the Doom swap. So I would be sad to see them go in any format, but they have definitely ran meta for a little bit. So
The funniest
Well, yeah,
part
they
is-
were the Dooms. They were Dooms before, but better because it's not just once per game.
Yeah,
That's what makes them so ridiculous.
exactly. Yeah.
There were some Doom
although
teams.
Mephisto is just Mephisto's just a quick 30 points right now in modern. Like,
He really
he's
is.
constantly dead.
Well, and especially going into the unbanning list when we get there, like he really just explodes going into that. But they've seen their play. They're prohibiting certain effects from being played. So it's a trade-off, right? Somebody's coming off the bench list, and some of these need to go on to let them actually work the way they were intended.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is definitely the Masters of Evil are on what? 80% of the builds currently?
Something like that.
Even-
Yeah, it's pretty high.
Even in modern? Yeah, it's a pretty stout number. So I like the idea of figures and mechanics taking a break more than just banning them outright. Because it does let things breathe. So hey, like whatever I'm getting ready to bench for the current year, things are getting released back into the wild that either take those spots or are extremely playable again because there's this thing that just doesn't shut it off gone. So.
And that would potentially then include the Mephisto, right? The Ultra Chase also? All the swaps and him?
Yeah, like the whole chase set is what I was looking at.
Okay. And
I think
then...
the only one who doesn't really see play is Hound.
Who's that?
The Hound, I haven't really seen him played.
Yeah, he hasn't seen too
He
much.
was on the build up to Champion Clix. Calder was playing a pretty good animal team that just put him on the team just to get MOE swap on the field. But yeah, by himself, I don't think anyone's been using.
Yeah, I mean that's
So you even
honest to God, that's his only use, right? To get MOE onto animal. He's terrible.
Yeah, that's the only reason I use him.
So you'd even bench Thor. That's interesting. I thought he'd be the other one that you were like, he doesn't see a lot of play. So
his team up card is pretty good. That one, you know what that one is, that stops the damage from being reduced. Yeah, so.
Oh yeah, I know what that one does.
Well, so like the idea of taking them all is that there's not some loophole I miss by saying, no, Hound's fine and so is fine, and then automatically they become a thing in silver because they're there.
Gotcha. That's fair.
So have to tiptoe.
Would it be like just a lot of work and hoops to jump through to just try to temporarily errata the swap mechanic off of them so that you could still individually play them at 50 points?
So erratas in Silver Age are really hard to pull off because it's due to licensing and some other things, I'm sure, on WizKid's end. To be frank, before you guys saw the official temp list, I believe I had 38 pages of fixes for Silver Age.
Okay.
Oh my God.
And so I'm doing real work, and y'all have no idea.
It sounds like it.
There were... I tried to fix mission points as a whole completely, so we didn't have to ban anything. Obviously, Miss Minutes is banned, and we all know I'm a giant Loki show fan, so I tried to make her more themey. And, it's shot down, so I can talk about it. But, let's say if you played her on a theme team, she got an extra use of prob, right?
Okay.
But what if you played her with Kang? Like, so I play her with a Kang, and for every same named figure, aka variants, she gets an additional use of prob.
Sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
That would have made her, if she was made like that originally, that would have been so much better than the mission points.
Really cool. Yeah, I'd much prefer that over the mission point gimmick thing that she was doing.
Yeah, and so I really leaned into some of those fixes for certain figures. She was a big one, and I almost got it approved, but they were like, "No, we're just gonna bench, hit them all, and she's gone."
Just give her a legacy card and make that legacy card be perfect.
I'm gonna have to bid on it at Huntington's at this point because by the time I get to play, it's like I don't get to play for those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 38 pages of fixes. We looked at vehicles. We looked at mission points. We looked at, Lord have mercy, so many things. And some of it came through and some of it didn't. But I do want to attempt fixes before they get the ban hammer. So I need people to understand, now that it's out there, that banning is not the go-to move for me. I would rather fix it or try to errata it to be better than it is so it's playable. Because, again, I could like some of those figures and be like, man, I really want to try this in silver. And it's gone. So.
Yeah, if you can make them playable, that's obviously better.
Yeah.
The next two are both black hearts. So the new rare from Wheels of Vengeance, what was the reasoning behind getting rid of him for at least a year, possibly?
His mobility. So, had it been his printed range, I think we'd be okay. Especially considering big maps are still in my format. or silver format. But with smaller maps becoming more prominent, him being able to be perplexed up, the mobility for him and Kongs and some other things are just so high for free. Maybe there's a fix I
Even
can
in
give
big
him.
maps, even on big
Yeah.
maps, that 8 is ridiculous. I played against those are my two main losses at the ROC Cup. I pretty much got wiped turn 2 when I chose map, a big map with no blocking. So yeah, it's ridiculous.
See, originally I didn't think he was gonna be that disgusting because when we just came off of having Venom Magneto for 3 years or whatever, 2-ish years or maybe three, whatever it was, before he retired, I was like, this can't be nearly this bad, and it's pretty bad.
It definitely is, because 2 of them, even for 100 points, is map reach
Oh
with
yeah.
perplexes. Here's the thing for free. It's gonna explode you now. Have a good
Well, it's
day.
also place. That's what makes it better than Venom Magneto. I know people think that Venom Magneto is better at 35, but I have to completely disagree there. I'd rather pay 50 points for Blackheart because you can place characters like Kong and other multi-base figures.
Right.
And you get more movement out of it too.
I was only comparing as they're the only things that were relatively
No,
similar,
yeah.
similar in how they
I-
operated.
with that.
Yeah,
Well,
you're good.
Blackheart's thing is because you can place something like Kong, right? Like you can't TK Kong. So,
Right.
Now that you can just drop 2 off on someone's doorstep, deal with that. So, yeah.
And then the super rare one,
Right.
was he on kind of like the radar before the event even?
Yeah, I'll admit to that one. He was something I looked at, and then have you ever been told information beforehand and you go, man, that's gonna be nuts? And then you forget about something. You forget about that thing.
Uh-huh.
You're like, he's fine. And then we got Kathan, and I was like, shit.
Yeah,
So it
the
was-
self activating is pretty gnarly. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go to click with my stop click and then generate a guard and then KO the guard and then heal and now go to town because I can.
Right, we're gonna party. You ready? You're not
Yeah.
ready. It's okay.
Mhm.
So I mean, there's that, and some people would be like, "Well, you should look at Kathan." I was like, Kathan's a risk. You can play him. You get KO'd. Do you need Kathan? Because I know he's a May, but like maybe that 300-point monster popping out for a turn could score you a bunch of points, or however in the hell you pull that off, win you the game. So I don't know. It's hard to like mute a brand new figure. I know we're talking about like Blackheart Rare too, but Chthon is so different, and he's gonna bring life to a lot of things in Silver Age beyond Modern.
And again, free.
That I don't. Yeah, and I don't want to punish the people that like it. But I can look at Blackheart Super Rare and go, that free activation is not what we were going for, right?
Right.
So let's not let that happen. So yeah, Blackheart's definitely on the radar. Maybe I'll look into trying to fix him to where that activation doesn't happen that way, if they let me.
So page 49 and 50 of your updates.
Is the black heart.
Don't. So some of it was because we tried to update some things because I wanted to line up with new mechanics, and some of those older mechanics were really outdated. And it was like,
are you talking like wording specifically? Like say like how the old stop clicks changed to the new stuff type of thing where it's you know not when turning the dial and all that goodness.
I'll give an example, and we'll just kind of leave it there. So vehicles. I might have attempted to make all vehicles work the same.
As far as like a
Like
pilot, being a
all of
pilot, or
That's really
Yeah.
interesting given how the old vehicles like from Infinity worked. So that's very interesting.
So it was like, let's try. They can tell me no, but I'm gonna attempt it because I feel like that would make piloting old vehicles easier,
Sure.
right?
I agree with that. Yeah.
I even snuck in something funny on the dune buggy, and then unless you were a fan growing up, you would have never noticed it. And then because it was two different sides of properties, I couldn't do it.
Dude, anything that gets the spider buggy back on the map for me, I'm happy with. Let's make it happen.
Were there any
Yeah,
builds with the
no.
buggy?
No.
I didn't think so. Okay.
There might have been if we'd have done this fix, because I know some players that run a certain set of chases that would have been really funny to see it on. So yeah, go ahead, bud.
I was gonna say, so potentially you're also looking at the all the lantern rings.
So my initial plug was the Sinestro ring because it's for real played the most because of
Right.
Porter, right?
Right.
I don't know that I can change Porter ever.
Probably
I
untouchable.
have an idea.
Just get
Right.
Channing Tatum. He'll fix the problem.
So I have an idea, but again, it's if they let me do it. I can be like, hey, what if we did this for Scott? He still works and does all his cool stuff, but it stops this part from interacting. I'm
Okay.
being vague there on purpose. I'm sorry, but I have an idea. I gotta go see if they take it or not.
Oh, sure. No, that's fine.
But until
What
then,
about just banning the stop signs?
Oh God, please!
well, here's the
And that
trade-off.
stupid barrel. That stupid barrel.
Yeah.
Jesus,
You
so
love
many
that barrel.
problems.
At least you can
Yeah.
kill the barrel, Pete. Come on, you can. That's an easy kill. You go Quake, it is dead. That's it.
Right? Yeah, it just explodes. But the reason the rest of the rings got pulled in was, well, if you take that one, the new one just takes its place, right? And I was like, right, but it does a vastly different thing. There are only two, to my knowledge right now, only two equipment items that give perplex. It's the reality gem.
And the ring, yep.
And Darkhold.
Yep.
Free.
Perplex,
Darkhold.
perplex for free. Oh, what was the other one?
Darkhold.
Darkhold.
Yeah, the Darkhold. Okay, but still, it's not as played as it should be.
Right.
No, and yeah, the yellow ring is the best of the three perplexes because of what else it brings, but for sure.
Right, and so yeah, they get to generate constructs still if it's any other colored ring, but there could be a spike in the blue, there could be a spike in the green, and it's like I don't really see that being a big of a problem. I really think yellow is the main thing right now. Because there are 4 rings that just don't get played at all. Like who plays the indigo ring or not indigo? Star Sapphire. Who
Or
plays the Red
orange.
Lantern ring?
Orange.
Or orange?
Yeah.
Orange and silver should be an immediate play.
Oh yeah, you
I
steal.
think I was the only person that played the orange ring that entire week.
I think so.
Because you're the only person that played Lex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you played Lex.
Yeah.
Well, and then like Jesus, in 400 points, 200 point modern, give me Larfleeze in the ring for free. There's not. I have to be able to build a build around him with 200 extra points, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah,
me wanna-
yeah, that's
makes,
yeah.
Well,
makes me
Harold's
want to try
amazing.
at least and be like, I'm gonna take all your stuff and use it all. Ha ha.
Yeah,
But
the anti Jim Jaspers.
right, yeah, he's the answer. Kind of, but it's there. So I'm really torn on the rings, honestly. I can understand the call for all of them to go because it eliminates the constructs too for a minute and the rings, but I'm vocally torn on this decision here.
Sure. I think they're kind of like the tarot card where they're the tarot cards where a lot of people are kind of tired of seeing them, but at the same time they add a lot to the game, and since there's a lot of just free equips on a lot of those pieces, those other pieces are also going to kind of lose out on those free equips.
Well, and the trade-off is if I take the rings, do Chip and the other chases just take their place?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
They get all the
But then-
construct. Right. It's like, cool, I have red lantern constructs for Guy Gardner now. They're still here, guys. Whoop-de-doo.
Right.
100% agree with that.
So,
But you're playing,
Let's-
but you're playing like Guy Gardner or somebody else that I don't know. Like that seems fine, in comparison.
That's why
to
I said the stop sign because with Chip, like that's where it becomes ridiculous is when because Chip's the most played of those lantern figures.
yeah.
And him being able to make more than one is just sucks because you finally kill that stop sign. You're like, oh yes, no more stop signs this game. Oh no, I can make more. Here you go.
Yeah, really. So yeah, that's where we're at with the rings. I'll do some more tinkering and see what I can really come up with to see if removing them all is really the play or if it's just the Sinestro ring needs to sit down.
Okay. And then we're also
The
looking
next-
at potentially Kong getting taken out for a bit.
Maybe. I expected more Kong at the Cup than I got. I mean, modern, he's definitely going to be a play with the trick arrows, but I didn't see an abundance.
And
of
a
Kong.
new Kong is about to get even more play because of a new object coming out next month. So
Yep.
no one's talking about it, but it's going to be everywhere.
They will soon. So we're looking at stuff like that, right? Like Kong is a potential. He could die down and just be something every other player plays, and that's fine. But he's definitely on the watch list right now for me because he's heavily played in Modern. So maybe we get to a point in Modern where it's like, I need a break from the monkey.
Right.
He needs to go away.
Yeah, he's everywhere in Modern.
Yeah.
And I like
So-
the separation of the format, like a little bit, right? Like, some of the idea, at least maybe my perception of the idea, is that you're trying to give it a little bit of a separation. Like, this is silver, this is modern. So don't just bring everything that was good in modern into silver right away. So I think that's great.
For sure.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing I'm pushing for with the 10 ban list is let's give everybody that break. Let's see what they come up with in the formats. And then, hey, look, these things are back. Now what do you do with it? Does it go right back where it was, or have you crafted new ideas and we're like, oh, look, this is a brand new version of this tech we haven't seen before because everyone took a break?
And then the next one is, that one kind of surprised me, is actually Necron.
That shouldn't surprise you, sir.
Oh,
Outside of Elsa getting played a lot more where you can't heal stuff, or the Death Tarot card, Necron and Scott Portal combo is gross because all you're looking for is a keyword. So let's think about, who did I remove from Silver Age? Avengers Infinity. I think Eternity. Or
Yes.
Infinity.
Yep.
It was Eternity. Yeah, because I messaged you about that. Yep.
Yeah, he has all keywords, so I can pay 100 points, and if I protect him well enough, make him 600 points just from support.
Okay.
And what do? Run from the 600 point Colossal that's pissed off and gets all the bonuses ever. So, I mean, I would like a fix to Necron, and then he could come off this list. As far as, like, yeah, you can heal as long as the source that's healing you has the printed Black Lantern keyword.
Okay.
I know you have your own version for your little event, but that's kind of where I was wanting to go with Necron, was just make it printed keywords. If they don't have them, you don't get to heal.
Yeah.
Or you don't get to heal from that source.
Yeah, for our event, it's a little different because it's more about you can just kind of sit back and do it, and it's not as big of a deal. Whereas this is kind of like you're still like limited in rounds and time and all that stuff. I was just, I guess, surprised because it kind of changes the playability of all the actual Black Lantern chases that aren't really seeing play already.
Well, I think the Black Lanterns and Silver are being overlooked. And it's got nothing to do with Necron. And 400 points, if I wanted to be aggressive as hell, I could play a full point Martian, which with a 40 point Necron currently is going to get grave markers anywhere he wants and hit you really hard. or build a monster Superman build that lets me hit something for dead if I want to. I'm in the middle of collecting them all. I think they're definitely overlooked. Maybe it is a mashup build of monsters to get them right, but
That's where I think it's at. I think it's pretty much Necron, and you pick what chase you want to work, and then you go from there, be it Monster or Herald. I don't think that a straight Black Lantern team is where it's at.
Right, and so if we look at it that way, then Necron is the only problem.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's potential. They could look at me and laugh and be like, "No, we like him. He's fine," and then he just keeps going. So, yeah, go ahead. You're fine.
I was saying, I played kind of a monster theme team at for the theme event on what day was that? Thursday. Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah, and I mean that was a lot of fun. Just going back to some of the older monsters and playing with the Black Lanterns. So they definitely, I agree, are overlooked, and I'd like to see them played more. But potentially,
maybe that's.
Oh, what's that?
Go ahead.
Well,
go ahead, man.
I was just going to move on. If you had something to say about Necron, though, you can add it.
No, you're good. World's Finest. Let's go.
All right, World's Finest potentially also going to be leaving for a bit. Is he still pretty? Was he seen a lot? Because I didn't see too many of them.
So that was the surprise for me, right? Some of this list was made pre-ROC Cup because I'd been seeing him on builds for regionals and stuff like that.
Right.
There's also crazy interactions from when they pop off into Superman and Batman with the deceased and Black Lanterns, and I don't know. They may just get through and not be worried about, but
I think the reason you didn't see World's Finest is because World's Finest is best in detective, and so it's hard to find 200 points of silver for detective. But if with potential Batman team up rotating, I think that's when you will see him played a ton, because that's the one thing detective was hurting, was not a lot of good 200 points of detective in silver.
Yeah, he's an instant play.
Points off the top of, I was gonna say, I know that's the 100 points off the top of my head, but beyond that, I was like, I don't know, for detective and silver.
So they could not exist when the list finally goes to print, but they hit like a tank. They definitely saw a lot of play in my region, which is part of the other reason that maybe you guys don't see it played. We all have different areas. We all have different play styles and teams we like running. So I kind of need more events like the Cup to happen to really like flesh out everything.
It'd be nice too if we can get nationwide, because like you said, different regions play different stuff. So
yeah, that's true.
Right,
yeah.
which is why I push to be like, hey, don't give up on silver for your event yet, because you guys are another event out that way that's like, hey, silver. And I know we're in the modern era and with modern or die players for sure. I will say this real fast about some conversation at the Cup. For players who are modern diehards to still show up to the Cup and say they had fun, I definitely think we're going the right way.
That's a definite win.
They were super vocal about not liking the format, not liking the changes, nothing, and they showed up, they played, and they had fun. So hey, got you.
That were saying they weren't going to go there, and it was actually a pleasant surprise to see them there, because I haven't seen them since Worlds. So yeah, that was awesome to see a few of them.
Right, and so they're also really vocal to me behind the scenes, like, "Hey, are you watching this?" or "Hey, do you know about this?" And it's that give and take that lets us thrive. Where I really don't like your format. Well, why are you here playing? But it actually ended up being a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We'll see. Don't judge a book before you actually like read it. You know. But anyway,
have you thought anything about Simon Garth and the Hell Cycle? Has that made the ban list, the watch list? I mean,
definitely should.
You beat me to something I wanted to throw into this as a joke, but sure, we can talk about Simon.
Damn it!
I hereby challenge Miles to build a Simon Garth build that is competitive. And you have to keep Simon alive until Top Cut happens.
Oh, okay. I originally had a build, but I decided to go with Aquaman because I figured it'd be harder to make Aquaman. Because Simon Garth is too easy to make a competitive win team. So, okay.
Let's do
It
it.
has to be
I
on
want
my
that
build,
report.
right? And Ken gets KO'd.
Yeah.
So, what if he's on my
Nope.
sideline?
No. So main force has to survive
Okay.
until like top cut.
Wait. Are we talking silver or modern?
Modern.
Wherever he
Oh.
wants to play him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we have a few events coming up out here. I will
Love it.
definitely. Yeah.
The gauntlet's been thrown down, Miles.
So if
Yeah.
I do, can he get on the ban list?
I
It's
will
a real
add him to
question.
the. I will add him to the rocks, like the one in our tournament document. I will add him to Legion and Felix Faust if you do well with Simon Garth.
Yes.
How about that?
Challenge accepted.
All right.
Seems like a safe
Let's
bet
not
on
far
Aaron's
off.
side.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
think I know where I'm putting my money.
So one guy that got a lot of hate was Mad Jim. What's the biggest things that could see him potentially seeing a permanent ban? In silver, at least.
For now, yeah, permanent ban in silver. He's definitely probably going on the ban list for real. He's got too many weapons and he's equipping things that don't need to be equipped for free. Obviously, there are other ways to equip the Colossals with equipment, but they take more than a free action. Outside of Elsa Prime, same as my gym, if you're letting that be your prime slot, that could be a good thing for you. It could like really hurt you going into what we
True.
have coming out.
But she does also. You had to pay the points for whatever equipment she's giving, unless she's stealing it from someone.
Or it's the arrows because she's a marksman.
I mean, yes,
And
but I was
that's-
more or
I
less
saw that
thinking about the
combo.
30.
Well, I mean, so yeah, in silver you're still paying for the points, but that's still a free action to like just be like, I paid it so you can have it here.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
So,
I get it with Matt Jim is because the 30 points from the sideline makes him pretty much a 5-point piece.
That's what I was thinking. Was immediately the gauntlets and the cubes. I was like, that's all. That's a big object to just drop on somebody from the sideline.
right, and so where she has to pay for it and like have it, he just has like this arsenal off to the left that he's like, oh yeah, you need that, go for it. So I mean, their mechanics are different while still being similar in certain ways. So, Mad Jim is problematic. He is being looked at. He's on my hopeful ban list for this year. Maybe sooner if I can get them to do it sooner, but we'll see.
And then the last one I know is going to be popular with everyone too is getting rid of Amat's tomb potentially for a little bit. Is that gonna?
Oh no! Until they fix it.
It's
As
gone.
soon as I can get rid of that thing, it's gone until they fix it.
Is it
If they
officially
fix it
gone yet?
Properly, then
From
not
silver?
officially.
Okay.
I gotta wait on. Yeah, I still gotta wait on my channels, but it's on the list with these next things we're gonna talk about to
Okay.
be like done.
And then
But it's gotta go.
Aw, I'm gonna miss the tomb.
no, it's
No,
gotta
you're
go.
Yeah, it
Um,
does. It's one of those things that just has to.
I'm really surprised that was belief.
And I will also hold on. I will also piggyback off the Tri-Sentinel, so we're just gonna jump to that real fast. Tri-Sentinel was legal for an entire year, and only 4 got played last year, and it was Lucas. Because of the Amut's Tomb, they went everywhere, and they were way stronger than they were the year before. I know people were still like, they need to be looked at, and I will, but because of the combo with Amut's Tomb, they are infinitely worse than they were before. And that's coming from the guy who caught the free action thing. Where
Yeah,
they could just walk up to you and be like, hey, take a pulse wave attack. Enjoy that.
right.
What about
So-
the consideration for just making something like the Tri-Sentinel itself, like just Highlander in that format? Like you can play it, but you can only play one, and that's it. Because I think they're a problem, but they're in a group of pretty oppressive.
Right. Well, so here's where I have to do the channels, right? There are things there are definite things I wish were unique. Like, let's go for why is Grand Prize Apocalypse not unique? Why?
Yeah, that's at least has a unique modifier for his trait. That
Or
the day he was released, that's exactly what I said.
yeah, or Genesis too. I mean, they're both like very
Yeah.
unique versions of the character. That I don't see why they couldn't have the little silver ring.
Right. So in my mind, it's like this is the end all Apocalypse, right? This is the one we should be afraid of. He's got all the power. Oh no, there's not two of him anywhere. Not even in like variant land. Like he's just him. So I know business wise why they do stuff like that, and then gameplay wise, I go, really wish you would not. But I don't know that I'll ever get to pass the I want this to be unique thing. I've
That's
got a
probably
player
hard.
that pushes me to be like, what if it's just unique at its low level? I really don't think I can do that. So I mean, we got Legacy Thanos fixed. He was not unique for a second, and then they're like, no, he's unique. So maybe, but
Ban him.
that one's probably a little bit further out of my reach than I care for.
Ban him.
No, I've been given a challenge, much like the Simon Garth challenge.
I challenge you to ban him.
Try. No, sir. I'm gonna show up. I want to do 300-point Apocalypse with proper support, and I don't mean like Scott Porters and whatnot. Like, I want to build a horseman build that makes him scary. And yes, like the witches and stuff are kind of why they're there, so they can be like, "You don't have powers, bye." But I want to. That's why I like big figures. That's kind of why I pushed for the bigger point level, honestly.
Right.
Wait,
Yeah, and I
So you're
love those
talking-
because I wouldn't have been able to play the team that I played at the ROC Cup.
Right. So it's like
No
these
one's ever
things
played
got-
Star at 200 points because the 100 points just isn't enough support. Like the extra 100 points, like actually made a figure viable and competitive, and that was what was fun about it.
Which was your
so
goal,
then
right?
I looked at it was to show off new dials, and that was the whole idea here. And so I've already got an Avengers Prime build ready for the moment it's silver. Like, let's go. I'm gonna do it and be a wild man, but I can do it now.
Going full
Where is
300 point Avengers Prime.
Yep. Bring it. I'm waiting on it to rotate into silver to be like, it's legal, do it!
You've only got a couple more
But-
months of wait time, so that'll be sooner than later.
Yeah, but see, that's that thrill, right? Like, hey, I got Legacy Avengers Prime, and I've got the figure, and I just can't play it in local events because it gets murdered.
Oh yeah, 300 modern.
What could
no
I do to
chance.
make it better? Right, and so 400 points, I give an extra 100 points of support for this awesome chase from back in the day that's a legacy now. Let's go. Let's play it. So, well, let's get back on focus. I know I ramble. I'm sorry.
No, all good. There's also 14 other figures that you already kind of mentioned it, but it's basically because of mission points. So they're the ones that get KO'd and then they become friendly to your opponent's force. So they're pretty much, you're just looking at getting rid of them for that interaction, right?
Yeah, we did try to fix those to where like maybe when they flip teams, they would have first turn immunity, but it didn't really ever slow anything down.
Okay.
So yeah,
The one fix that I think would actually be, I mean, I don't know if they'd go for it, is you actually have it optional. To where your opponent either says yes, they want him or no. It's like, I don't want that figure on my team. No, KO it. It's done.
I think that's why we're never really going to see Copycat again. Not the one that everyone hated. So, I mean, yeah, that would be cool, but then if the verbiage is wrong, some HeroClix verbiage butthead is going to tweak it to be like, well, it says I could do this, and then we're gonna have a billion wrong interpretations of a power, and I just don't want to deal with it. Honestly,
Yeah,
they need to go. It's healthier to be this way and just take them, and then I can go look those million mission point figures that are on my insanely big watch list aren't there anymore. You just play
but
them.
Big Show, I had plans for Big Show, and it's sad I can't play him now. That's my main gripe with him.
Listen, WWE CliX, I had so many ideas for, and I was so ready for Wave 2. Ugh.
Yeah.
I may still bust out that format one time at the Cup if Howard will let me. It'll be fun.
I like those pieces.
But I do too.
Really
like
horses like that.
Yeah, and it was like, well, it's because I think he was based off the one that was during his time as a face, and then he just basically snapped and just punched everybody out in the ring.
Well, Big Show's, I think that was the joke, because he's changed like so many times back and forth from heel and face, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're on a HeroClix podcast that's a bunch of wrestling fans, so if we can get the WWE figures in, we're good with
38 times. Yeah, 38 times in his career he changed between babyface and heel.
Yeah, I know he was up there.
I'm not kidding. Had we got the Fiend, I was going to play the ever-living hell out of that figure.
That's the one that hurt the most that never saw the light of day, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hulk Hogan for me. Brother.
It's one of those things where it's like, did you make the sculpts? Because if you did, I'm going to push for a legacy card.
Oh,
I swear.
man.
Let me talk to Triple H. Triple H will give you the license back.
So on the other hand of potentially benching pieces, we're also going to potentially see things come off. Are these also still like a working list of pieces?
This is very much like, these are the ideas I want to release. I think all these will get through, minus maybe one now that I'm looking at it again. And we'll go over that when we get to him.
Okay, I hope it's not the one I'm thinking of. But
there's going to be some that are going to...
Yep, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th one down.
Yep. No. So, there's a couple on this list that aren't there that kind of raise some eyebrows. And when we get to her, I'll go over why I think she may stay, but she may get set free. We'll see. Go ahead. Where are we starting?
The first one's going to be the object that Dan spoiled earlier. So that's going to be the all black, the Necro Sword.
Again, I did not speak of it by its name. I was like, I'm going to leave that to interpretation.
So all black is a weapon to fight something that's currently on the bench list, the temporary ban list, excuse me. But at the same time, he can also use it. So I'm kind of like, ugh. But all black deserves to be loose. There are some heavy Super Sins rollout figures in the format, especially with Iron Hammer coming, like really into the format.
Yeah.
I think it deserves its freedom again.
And if Mad Jim and Prime Spidey are both going to be off, then those are probably reasons too why it's not as crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
definitely Prime Spider with that.
I like that combo. I played that at Worlds. But then next is going to be both the Grand Prize Apocalypse and Grand Prize Genesis.
Yeah, we really set these two down because of their like overabundance of use.
Right.
They heavily played. They have a million teams they can be on or become X-Men with. Again, I already spoiled that I'm a huge Apocalypse fan, so having him and his wife come back into the silver format is going to be a lot of fun for me, but he needed some time to rest.
So now if they're coming back in, cycling back to the Professor X X-Men swap thing, is it possible that we might see if they come back
he goes away? Yeah, that would probably that's a safe bet.
Okay. And then the Colossal Dark Phoenix from XDPS.
Yeah, it's either going to be really applauded or hated. I'm a Colossal fan. We'll go over some of that when we get to the other thing later on. But she's good. She's mobile. She's playable, and if you can get to her first, she just dies.
Right. Is she that much?
So I mean,
Is she that much worse than Tri Sentinel that she saw the ban first and not him?
The healing?
well, so remember going into making my original list, Tri-Sentinel only got played one time, and that was last year. And there
Okay.
was only 4.
And a lot more people
So
played
it
Dark
was like,
Phoenix.
right, because she's doing her trick through walls, man.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Tri-Sentinel has to blow them all up, right? So it's like, cool, I hit this Mystic figure with this 10-point thing I don't care about. Phoenix. Uh-oh. I don't care that you have all that barrier. I'm going to punch through it anyway. She was really like, she definitely has seen a lot of play in her time. I know I played the holy hell out of her. It just made sense. It's like everybody gets a break from the Firebird. When she comes back, it'll be just like the comics. She rose from the ashes and she's back wreaking vengeance on everybody.
Oh, sure. I'd like to see her back. The sculpt is really cool on her.
Agreed.
It feels like a classic reuse of the sculpt, like what the original version that they made of Dark Phoenix.
I want legacies of all those old birds so bad. Of all the old stuff in general, actually, but
I'm sure she's that'd be a very popular choice amongst the player base, so people would be like, I'd like to have that.
yep. The next one. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, no, go ahead. Take it.
So Maggot. Maggot was one of the most dominant forces on animal taxi builds in the game when he was in Modern. His ability to do all those freeze, to drop eeny and meeny and attack and heal, and it was just gross. There's definitely another figure that probably should have been unique.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't. So no matter what anybody says, it was because he was really good and really played, and such an obscure character that got made. He just needed a break.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh yeah. Well, you're releasing a piece of equipment that can basically almost assure killing him because he starts with senses. So
Yeah, right. So yeah, welcome back. You exploded. That was fun. So
And then Sakarian Iron Man possibly coming off the bench.
I mean, he's pretty much free, but interactions with his objects are very different now. So it's like, don't put them where you can get quaked.
Oh, that's
Then
true.
you'll never get them.
He also has celebrity, and just if he becomes huge, I think that just means Titania becomes that much better with Sakarian in the meta.
Yeah, that'd be another reason to play her.
yeah,
Like, he can't use anything that's not printed on his dial, so
no,
he's useless.
it makes him a lot worse.
Yeah, so it's like, now we have answers. And there's
Yeah.
Jennifer Kale that goes, cool, you picked up those objects. You're still printed.
You're
Whoop-de-doo.
10 for 3. Woo.
Yeah.
So he just has more
Hope I
counters
didn't
now.
pull. Yeah, so he's got his balance, which is what we were waiting on.
The next one is the one that...
the other...
Yeah, this guy is the one that really got me excited, and that is Sky Tyrant's return.
All black, I think, makes him have to stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tertiary with that could be that's disgusting.
I'm just glad they fixed some of the other powers that worked with him, because that was gross.
The Flurry
Now
Quake.
that it's just charged flurry, and let's not do that anymore.
Yeah, that changed him quite a bit. And then we got 2 more. That's the Thug from, is that Superior Foes of Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was he just cheap perplex, or
So-
what was the issue there?
All right, so I play Scott Porter. It has all keywords. I play Commissioner, and I play 4 thugs, and now you don't have protected outwit anymore.
Oh yeah, because they all take the
Secret
the
Six
keyword.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the Secret 6 keyword. Yep.
And that's only 80 points or 90 points, somewhere in there. So in 400 points, it's like, cool, nobody's Power Cosmic on your build, and I have a bunch of points left.
Okay.
So it's a weird interaction. And I knew when it got posted the first time, everybody would look at me and just be like, "What did the thug do to you?" It's like,
I
no,
thought it was.
it's not what
I thought it
it's
was
not what he
something
did to me. But it was definitely
What was it
like
gonna
a
do to you?
weird keyword interaction. And again, that's where I'm happy about me being so public about what I was going for. That someone just walked up to me at an event and was like, "Hey, Thug's got to go," and then walked me through it. And I was like, "Well, that's definitely gone. Holy crap!" So.
And then the last one, which I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see, is Venom Magneto coming back, potentially.
Yeah, I have one. Oh yeah, he'll be free. One player I know specifically is like G waiting on O for it, so
Yeah, I think a lot
he'll
of
get
people
to do fun things again. But I do think there are responses to him now, especially in Silver. You can TK twice, but maybe you're only getting 4 steps out of it because Mr. Oz is waiting.
Right, and it's changed from 6 to 4 anyway, so he's
I was
a
gonna
little.
say, wouldn't that mean you only get 2
2,
then?
yeah.
'Cause Oz is like every time you
Well,
move
I was about to say I was thinking about both TKs from Venom Magneto, not just the one. So it's 4 as a whole.
Oh, okay.
So I TK you twice, you're only getting 4 out of it, and that really changes some mechanics there.
Sure.
So
Well, yeah, and that changes his level of reach. Like he was the reach figure, and now with that, it's like even with just the TK change, he's not getting a figure nearly as far as he used to.
right, unless you play him and Oz and Flash and all these combos, like yeah, I got over there, but it took 110 points to do it. It's not the same. No.
So now from the list of the potential changes that we just went over, I think there's still some pieces that were a little surprising that they maybe didn't make it. But we already talked about Tri-Sentinel. What about Agatha, keeping her in?
So I'm torn on the witches. Scarlet obviously wasn't talked about just now.
She's going to get brought up in 3 seconds.
I mean, that's fair. So, knowing what's in Silver and some of the big scary things that can exist, like let's talk about Unimind. What survives Unimind pointing at it and shooting it? The witches.
Mm-hmm.
They can fight Unimind at full power and not die, because Leech explodes like as he walks by Unimind. It's just not gonna matter. And then Cosmo just gets outranged, even with a bunch of shield and perplexes. Like it's gonna cap, and Unimind still just goes, "Hey, doggy, ow." So I really wanted something to have an answer if we needed it. So that's kind of why I went toward Agatha, because Scarlet Witch was the figure for what, 3 years almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I think only like 2, right? She did not see that much.
Oh, she was. Scarlet Witch was only a thing for 15 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She rotated.
I guess she was just so.
She got banned
Right.
instantly after
So
World.
that's how much that people played her, that I think she was around for 3 years.
Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the point. Right
She was
there.
only around
Every
for
big
15 months.
event, she was
Yeah.
on the build. Every one.
Her team depth of how many teams she was on was pretty disgusting towards the end there.
And so it was like, we're going to 4. I'm going to leave Agatha alone because she's my just break in case of emergency glass figure, you know? There's Unimind. Cool, you don't have any powers. My team's going to eat you now.
Did you notice a lot of Unimind teams at the Cup?
Dan asked about him, and I thought he was going to do it, and he didn't do it.
Okay.
But it's because you can't perplex the damage anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
and I guess
that change did change him quite a bit.
Yeah, and so maybe I don't have to worry about it, but what do you guys think? Do you think that's a nice thing to have in the back pocket in case we need it? Or if I take both the witches in 6 months, do we go, wow, we should have left that alone?
I'm interested to see both ways.
I think the thing with the witches was not necessarily the witches. It was the ability with the angler to get them up and drop the rune marker on people, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest thing in Modern at the time, was that's what everybody did.
Yeah,
So
and now
that,
you can do the same thing with Blackheart basically. And I think,
yeah,
well, if he ends up being off or being on the temp ban list, I mean, well, you're eliminating that problem. Same with Mad Jim being
Right, you
out,
can't
is that
swap
you are
Angler and Darkhold anymore.
You can't.
exactly. So I
Right.
think that those pieces are limiting their like high uptime on teams because they won't have such high level of mobility anymore.
Right. And so even with Venom Magneto coming back, it's like, how close can you really get with her at this point? Because I still left big maps in.
Right.
Somebody will figure it out, but that's where I'm at with the witches. So if I can't take both the witches because I'm worried about some old figure that just eats everybody, are they gonna let me fix the rune?
That
Maybe
would be
it's not
nice.
as crazy as right. Maybe it's not as crazy as it was. I've got a couple of ideas I can try for, but they could just be like, we don't want to do that, and just leave her banned. No. All right. Well, I tried to fix her, guys, and then we'll just kind of have to move on. But
Yeah.
so that's really why I want Agatha out. She's 100 points. She really didn't see a lot of play. She's seeing it now. So, oh no, I made something new, something else playable. That's 25 more points than Scarlet Witch was.
Right.
And I think she's a lot less. Well, she's definitely less durable than Scarlet
Right.
Witch.
No stop click. If Cosmo gets near her, he just goes, "You don't have super senses," and all I need is something that sees through stealth, and she just explodes. Oh
And I
well.
mean, and Kong still exists, so like, I mean, he can still just walk up and hit her. It's not like she's a stat monster or anything either.
Well, the all black is
Right.
also going to be an answer for her as well.
That as
Right.
well, yeah.
So yeah, we've got that now, right? So we've got all these answers that are coming or exist already. Maybe they're fine. I get the rune sucks. I don't like it when I get it used on me, but it's the lesser of a few evils in my mind.
Speaking of evils,
So that's what.
what about Legacy
Uh-oh.
Thanos and keeping him in?
So he got hit really hard with his erratas, like really hard. And yes, he won theme at the Cup in Huntington's, right? But that's all he won. And they definitely showed up to like make him a thing again. And none of them, what, Dan got top cut?
Yeah, Dan got
But didn't.
16th, and then
Yeah.
TJ got 16th, and then Nick got 16th, all from Clickstuff.
Okay.
I think
But
TJ
they
actually
didn't.
got top 8.
Yeah, so I was gonna say TJ's the one that got the highest, right?
Yeah.
So it was like 3 of them went in and 1 made it to top cut, and then he didn't get much further. Love you, TJ. Sorry, but for as oppressive as he can
A
be,
current figure that's out, doesn't that change it a little bit?
say it again. Sorry.
With a current figure that just came out, doesn't it kind of change the potential for him?
It does, but also it opens up the ability to reach him because now he can't hide behind a billion chunks of blocking. I'm gonna
Now that
see
he can
you,
hide in
dude.
water.
No one's
Right.
making Thanos a
Well,
dolphin.
I'm just saying, yeah, that's
I mean,
yeah.
if you go that route, you have other problems coming your way.
I'm fine with
You
that.
really do. But like there it is. We just like talked about it publicly, right? Like
Yeah.
Mern is the answer to Legacy Thanos and is Legacy Thanos' like best friend. But then the meta curves and goes, maybe Aquaman is Legacy Thanos' best friend now, so he can't get Merned. So where does the meta really fall? Do we all shift and play things that don't have Mern's keywords? Like I'll play Legacy
And
Loki,
it
so
sounds
you
like
can't
he's
touch
probably going to
me.
be the biggest problem. Should ban Aquaman.
No.
Good try, Miles. Good try.
Hey man,
Yeah,
if
no,
I
no.
can't play him, no one can. So if he gets banned, I'm like, yeah, it's my fault.
Yeah, right. And so I just I mean,
I personally, for me personally, I didn't have any issues with Legacy Thanos. My Star team ate him alive. But I get where Ryan's coming from. Is that the games with him just aren't
and I'm
enjoyable.
definitely not trying to dismiss
The low points.
the funk
Yeah,
of
it's
playing
more of
against
like
it.
the game. I think it's more of the style that he brings, where it's just low points and there's just not a lot of interaction. A lot
Right.
that just it's
Right.
a
But that's
50-minute game
also
feels
on
like
the
6
people that are
hours.
playing him. Because if you look at
Yeah.
Mike's team, Mike didn't hide. Mike was
Mm-mm.
like, here's Thanos. Ha. Versus, like, I have 88 pieces of blocking. Go. Like, you're playing the defense shell. That's not the same. So, I will watch him, but I think he's okay, and we're getting responses and answers to him very soon.
Ban him.
I think he's a gatekeeper piece, right? Like you have to be aware of him and you have to build to deal with him.
Yeah.
But that's
Right,
it.
so he's the new Unimind. You had to learn how to build against Unimind. You had to learn how to beat it. If you didn't, you weren't practiced enough. So Legacy Thanos is just that thing of like, all right, if I see it, this is what I have to do. And if I don't, oh well.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I don't like about that is it makes certain pieces on teams mandatory. Like I feel like the emo mod is just mandatory because you're like, well, I might run into Thanos, and Battle Fury is going to be necessary for this.
Well, then I go, what do you do if you run into Thanos with Prime Colossus?
Yep,
Then
I was
emo
about to
doesn't
say the
matter.
same thing. Look,
I will quake and shiver in fear. I'll be like, well, all right, I have
you're
nothing.
like,
No.
I'll just shake your hand and say, "Good game, sir."
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But so I mean there's so many answers to that. Well, emotional modifier. Well, soon that damn thing won't matter. Because
Yeah.
Colossus is just gonna go, I'm gonna mind control you. Get over it. And Miles has seen my new Starro tech, but I may not even get to play the damn thing.
Yeah,
But
it's gonna be it's awesome. Yeah, that's it'd be something that I would want to play, but yeah, that's your baby. Like I can't steal that.
oh
So I'm
no,
trying to.
so but that's what I mean though, right? Like look at the playability all of a sudden. Like, oh no,
Mhm.
Mern's here. Oh no, emotional modifier. Oh no, I don't care anymore. I can see you. Because Starro can get around it with or without Mern. I just make sure my Starfighter are over there, and then I go, found you.
Yeah.
So
No, we've already. What's that?
Sorry, as a meta player myself, when I can play, I feel if like you're forced to play something, you were not looking at all of the teams you have to face. Like I get emotional modifier is a thing, but I still ran Starro against it and found out ways to make my team work with it being there. Or the Bastion tech even, that still heavily mind control. So I don't want to force, like, you have to play this or it won't work. What are your options to respond to that? That's what I want to get everybody looking at, right?
Yeah. Now,
Right.
you kind of already mentioned him, and it doesn't sound like he's going anywhere. But is Mern at least like on a watch list or something?
Mern is definitely on the watch list. I'm not ignoring him, but that's where I'm stuck. Like what I just said was like, man, he kind of helps, but he kind of hurts. What do we do?
Well, it's hard to just
So as
ban
we go
a
through
figure
it,
that just got released too. I'm assuming, right?
right? And so I gotta let him like hit the map, and we go from there. And then if it becomes Mermland, then yeah, hey, you need to take a seat, and we'll figure you out. But for now, Mern is loose, and we'll see how predominant he really is, because he could end up being very niche.
Sure.
Well,
As weird as that sounds.
I was a fan of him the moment I saw him, especially with Butterfly, and the fact that he's actually been able to make one of my favorite characters playable, even if Ryan I know hates the play style. Like I applaud, like it's amazing. Like Legacy
Right.
Darkseid can finally see play and is good.
You're gonna need to
It's
keep
like,
trying.
I was
him.
wondering who you were throwing that at.
I will keep trying him. I will. He's done some good for me so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I got two more here. So I don't really think he's a big problem, but I know a lot of people are pretty vocal about him, and that's the Wonder Woman 80 Felix Faust. Is he looked at all, or is he just whatever?
No, he got an uptick because Mystical got a big boost, but he kind of helps with some of the crap we deal with in Silver.
Sure.
Hey, I'm a guy who likes playing Loki. If I play 5 of the extra action total Lokis and I run into Faust, I probably lose 40 points trying to prob you.
There was actually one person that went to where was going to play all Lokis, and that was one of the things I told him he probably shouldn't do because all it takes is to go against a game with
with Faust.
Faust, and you're probably
Yeah.
dead. He's
And
gonna
so
roll a
it's like-
6 for the amount of times you prob.
Right, and you're gonna hate it when he does. So
Yeah.
Faust is again a necessary evil for some of the things in the format.
Okay.
Because hey, Unimind, go for that perplex. I dare you. You may kill Faust, but I'm gonna get that one ping on you that matters, or I'm gonna cut off your use of that perplex or whatever. So
And then last is that XDPS 100 Magneto. So is that a piece that?
I get to.
Yeah. Do you want to just talk about him?
Yeah, and I need to get some clarification for somebody who played against it. Was that you?
I did play against them. Yeah.
All right. So he was swapping. He was taking a figure with Magneto, and he was swapping Magneto out.
I want to say he had
Is that how
two Magnetos. I honestly don't remember exactly how it played out. I want to say he had two Magnetos. I don't know if it was in case one of them didn't hit the 3 through 6, so there was 2 chances at it. But I don't think he kept any Magneto on the board.
No, the goal was to get that Magneto, 2 of the Magnetos on there to take off to pretty much take off 150 points of the build, and then to just swap into Leech. He had a few options for Magneto to be swapped out, but that was only to deal with like Agatha's and a few other issues.
So that is what I want to talk about. You can't swap that Magneto out. It's in the win and illegal as hell, and nobody said anything to me or any of the judges.
So I didn't realize that he was swapping him out because when I was judging the regional, he only ever took out Professor X for Leech.
Okay. So if he ever swapped Magneto, and I hope he's listening and hears me talking about this. So I linked it to Ryan, but I'll post it in the post y'all did for questions, so go look at it. But June 9th is when it got posted in 2016. It's been there for a while. It shows Magneto's power, and then it shows Professor X's swap out power. Both will trigger at the beginning of the game. If I choose to replace Magneto with a character from my sideline, how does his trait resolve? If I choose to resolve his trait first, can I still replace him with a character from my sideline? Alright, so for this specific interaction, if Magneto's effect resolves first, then your Professor X's effect will resolve, but Magneto will not allow to be chosen to be replaced.
Okay, I'm not.
But if you,
I was gonna say I don't remember if he actually did swap.
I know he did swap. I know he did swap in one game I was watching because I didn't realize that because he did swap it out for. There was another figure I know he had Magneto on his sideline, so it was swapped 100% at least one game.
Okay.
Right. So basically, if Magneto hits the sideline, then they never get that figure back. That's why they ruled this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you resolve the swap with Professor X first, then you can't do anything with Magneto's trait. Please note that this ruling applies specifically to this interaction to maintain the spirit of the game, and it is not to be applied to any other similar interaction. So specifically, Professor X and Magneto interact this certain way. So if he did do that, that was a really big no-no.
So what about just
And
him
with
as
everything-
a Silver Age character that can just take away 75 points for 3 turns? Because in a 400-point game, a lot of times you're only going to get 4 or 5 turns, and when you take away a piece for that long, it just seems bad.
Right. Let me.
And wasn't he
Yeah, we
banned
got
in
it.
Modern? I remember someone was saying that he was never actually legal for Modern play.
I don't remember that actually. Savage Land, where are you at?
I don't think he ever hit it. I think it was something that was talked about with the swap, and then I think COVID hit, and there was no events, so it never had a chance to really get played or see play.
And then he rotated quickly.
And then he
too.
rotated, yeah. And
Yeah.
then because Professor X was banned, I don't think it came back up, and then I don't think a lot of people noticed that he came off the ban list.
Right. And so the only reason I could see that he may not hit the ban list is if the timing and because of the rules changes. Traits are always active, so if they were to go back and look at this and be like, it doesn't work that way anymore because his trait is always active, then you would always take the card off, and that would give you a shot back. He's on my watch list. Potentially will get removed, but there is a rules interaction currently in the win that specifies that he can't be swapped out once he takes somebody.
Okay.
So maybe it is nuke him as fast as you can to get him off the map if they take your thing, but in Silver, this is the trade-off, right? And everybody talks about how everything is low points, so I lean into you can play bigger things now, especially with the shift in the point values going into Deadpool. That if 75 points is the make or break for your build, maybe there was a different issue in your build.
Okay.
Because going forward, 75 points is going to be like the low end of a lot of things, whereas like 50 points is the current low dial of everything.
Right.
Yeah,
I hope
that's
that
a
makes
great
sense.
point.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look. I will definitely keep an eye on him, and I'll talk with my guys and with kids to be like, hey, he may be a real issue. Let's just go ahead and take him. But if he was played the way it sounds like he was played, the guy was doing some stuff he shouldn't have. And the moment it happened, if it did happen, a player should have been like, hey, I need a judge because I don't understand what just happened.
Right.
I will preach to always call a judge when you have a wonky interaction happen and you just kind of tilt. Because maybe they're not right.
And then there's
All right.
a couple of interactions type things. So is there anything that can be done about Master Mold shooting out just herds of white shirt Scott Porters?
And other Nimrods, or the Prime, I should say.
You leave my boy alone. So outside of the game is hard to... Yeah. Outside of the game stuff is hard to balance because it doesn't go on a build sheet. It doesn't exist anywhere. I really think the interaction there comes from a Scott Porter fix, not a Master Mold fix.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Master Mold, it was print. See, that's where it was printed. Same thing like an issue with Necron. Is like that's where the Nimrods weren't really the problem. It was when Scott Porter became a thing, and they go, "Oh, he has all keywords."
Right. So for me, I lean into, but what if the fix for Scott Porter is at the beginning of the game he gains all keywords? Because then he has to pay for equipment, and then I can't bring him in with Master Mold. It just stops it, right?
Yeah, that'd probably fix a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
They can't, but I can't say that is a thing they'll even do. It's like that kind of fixes some problems, guys. But are you gonna do it, or is Scott just Scott?
Yeah.
And my heart goes, Scott's gonna be Scott, probably. But like that's what it is. The outside of the game stuff, beyond Master Mold, beyond a few other figures that do that kind of thing. If we start touching those, then Silver gets way worse for monitoring. Because now I have to deep dive into what brings this thing in from outside of the game and how many can it make, and it's like this is just too much.
Right. I think the big deal is you can probably assume that it's going to rotate after Worlds this year, and that team just gets so much better when that's your 200 points of silver is Master Mold.
It's true, but I feel like there are some things that can mess him up. You just have to get through the porters. And
Well, Legacy Magneto does a free attack against a robot, so there's a way to bump his damage up to 7.
Yep, that's the thing.
well, there's that. There's what if this is? I have no knowledge of this at all, but it would be funny. What if Superman Blue makes a legacy comeback sometime soon? I protect Pulse Wave. Ha 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 ha. I mean, we just got the Pog too.
Oh yeah, the Pog. That's true, actually.
Yeah, we just got the Pog, and we have Ghost Rider unless he hits the ban list. So
right, and it's like cool. I spent 5 points. You spent 200 to make infinite Sky Porters that can't hurt me anymore.
I mean, you also just have Titania that still says, "Hey, all you Scott Porters don't actually care."
Right? Yeah, it's like now you don't have Pulse Wave at all.
Titania is close.
She's almost there. I'm waiting on somebody to figure her out so I can be like, watch this hilarity happen. Scott Porter is vanilla.
And then another interaction is just like a Space Leo Guardians of the Galaxy holiday set Yandu. Was that an issue at the Cup at all? Just people taking a bunch of equipment and burying up?
No. So Yandu I never saw hit the map, actually. I know it was talked about, but I never saw one. Space Leo, on the other hand, I definitely saw. And he's not so much an issue of like, I scored these points, I'm going to hide. It's how does he actually work now?
Yeah. Yep, I remember. The ego gem. Wow.
So it's like
that was crazy.
I'm gonna fight Ultra Chase Thanos, and for him to get anything, he has to equip ego first. Once the game starts, and then he gets one by one equips all the gems. So Leo triggers off ego, and if he snags the ego, you're basically the player that's playing Thanos is deciding what gem order he is rolling for the hope that he gets to keep the one he wants on Thanos.
Okay.
Because from then on, whether Thanos wins the roll or loses it, those gems are dropping.
Right.
Yeah, you only get to keep the one, then and then the rest hit the board.
Yep. Which, unless ego hits the board, you're just getting the one anyway.
Okay.
And I will touch on this since we're talking about Thanos real fast. The reason I fixed Thanos to work with the ego gem and not the ego gem to work for everybody was this kind of interaction.
Well, yeah, I think that was a totally good call.
Yeah, I thought it was, because it's like he's the only one that starts the game with the ego gem, so it made 100% sense.
Otherwise, 30 points, you're getting ego, soul, and power, and that's just pretty insane.
Right, and then you also have to hunt down an Ultra Chase equipment.
Right.
Yeah.
That just felt bad. I was like, we're not going to do that. So, but there's some more logic to what I'm doing with the format was it may not be what everyone wants, so everyone can have the ego gem and run around and have all the gems on Blackheart or whoever. But thematically and mechanically, Ultra Chase Thanos should get all the gems if he wants them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But,
I almost think that that's how he should have been. I thought that's how he was originally designed.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is he should be able to get all the gems no matter what, as long as you paid for them.
Yeah. But the hell, there was a time when Legacy Thanos was not errated, and I was running gems on the map and running around. I think I got up to 4 on him once before I just had to fight my opponent. It's like, see, this is not good. He already has 6 gems on his trait, and now I'm getting the other ones. Oh no. So, well, me rambling. Let's talk about the mystery cards.
Yeah, so mystery cards and mission points, like you already kind of addressed that because mission points were set to do, what is it, 20 at 300 points, right? And so you changed it to 30 on a 400 point game. But similar mystery cards are based off of whatever triggers, and it's easier to ramp those up in a 400 point game with a 300 point game. So is there any change that mystery cards could see?
That conversation has to happen the right way to see what I can do, if I can do anything at all about those.
Okay.
I would like to see a change, but we'll see.
And then mission points are probably just going to stay at 30 for those?
Yes. For a 400 point game, we're keeping them at 30. I was happy they let me do that change, and there was no real fight in that at all. It was like, can we just up it since we upped the point total? And they're like, absolutely.
Okay.
So,
next is just colossal retail in general. Is there just anything that was kind of looked at for that element, or specific retaliators or anything like that?
I mean, so that's why the bird's on the temp ban list right now. That's why we took Fast Force's Giant Girl out of the equation altogether. Like, a swarm of her is really bad for the game.
Right.
A lot of the other ones, though, require you not to be moved or placed. There's a lot of that now, especially with knockback being a thing again. I will openly say that. Let me pull up my document. I'm a fan of. And this is the one where I'm gonna get hate in the comments. I think I'm just gonna own myself. But they're the better version of ID cards to me. They're a mechanic that is on the map and killable if you play right. If you play wrong and you don't try to kill the Colossal first, you did it to yourself. But
100%.
They are on the map for you to kill. And there are figures that have that reach. Looking at you, Danger Room Magneto. So it's just guys. Right. It's just. There are so many things that can just eat them. That it's a risk that I even want to play them at their low dial. There are some I could play at higher, like Colossal Carnage. His 100 point dial, I can do a retail off that. And I get survivability from him.
Right.
But just one-click Colossals are good for backup pieces and what they bring. And yeah, there's Mangog, and yeah, there's Dark Phoenix that deal this extra damage and have splash areas and stuff. That's fine. What did you do for it to show up in your starting area? What did you do that didn't mean it just exploded? Because
that's exactly what I've said is like it's on the board, you can see it. You can get to it a lot of times. Like most things can get to it if you're like you play the game, and I'm risking that point giving it up, and if you don't attack it or you miss it, well, this is part of the game here. So I paid the points. The points are on the table. So you have a chance to score them. And if you don't, then that's kind of on you.
Right. And then we look at ID cards and I go, it's not the same. You're playing a really expensive figure to go, here's a friend, he shot you, I moved away, it's gone. There's nothing I can do to the thing that shot me. Because the other thing that called it out isn't there to fight me, it's there to hide from me.
Right.
Here comes Cyclops from the sideline to shoot something for however many points of damage he's going to do and disappear. Absolutely.
What about the ones? What about the ones that don't have to get moved or placed, though? Is there anything being looked at for those ones so that they're all like a blanket if they haven't been?
You're talking about like the bounty IDs and stuff?
No, I'm still talking about the retails. I think, is it Groot that doesn't matter if you've been moved or placed? I forget.
I'm pretty sure he was still if you've been moved or placed still, too.
There's a handful of Colossals at the retail. It doesn't say that if no friendly character has been moved or placed.
I'm looking at him. Hold on. Groot. Groot is if no other clause of retaliation has been activated this turn, you can retaliate. So
is it the new Surtur then,
yeah,
or the
it's
old
not
Surtur?
Old Surtur, I thought got changed. I thought there was a changed him so where he couldn't do that because he could literally walk up and just free do his retail and
Is it Frost Giant? I think it is. Is it Frost Giant?
I think it's Frost Giant.
So Surtur Silver Age version. If
No,
no
no,
other
it's
clause
not.
of retail has been activated, the legacy is it's a free if nobody's been placed this turn. A Frost Giant.
I know what you're talking about, Ryan. I'm forgetting which ones. There's a few figures that do that.
Yeah, and I can't think
That
off the
are
top of my
able
head
to
who
do
it
that.
is.
Frost Giant is also if no other retaliation power has been activated this turn. I really think you're thinking about Fast versus Giant Girl. She's the one that doesn't give a damn.
Okay.
No,
No, there's
love
more
her,
than
but
just her.
I get why she's a problem.
Yeah, there's.
And she's 10 points of we can do it 50 times. Yeah, really 50 times if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was a problem for sure.
Yeah. So it's. And even looking at the main one, she's still the same way as Groot is. If you activate it on one, the other one can't do it. Maybe you're thinking about Colossal Indifference, where they could only attack tiny characters, and when they went away from that, they could just attack whoever. Maybe?
I'll have to cycle back to that
That's
one and
true.
see. I'll look closer. I don't remember exactly who it was. I thought it was Groot, but it might not be Groot. So we can cycle back to that another time. You did start talking about ID cards, though. Where is Silver with ID cards right now?
They're going to stay exactly where they are. I've spent the last 3 years trying to figure out a way to make them like retail. You can call it in, but it stays on the map. What do you do? And there's just not good interaction with how they get on the map and how they stay on the map because of what you can bring in. So it's just like they're better off hidden away. I know for a fact that WizKids wants to figure something out. It's just how do we do it? So for now, they're gonna hang out and look pretty over in the corner, but they're not coming back.
Okay, yeah,
Pay
I'm not
half
gonna
the
miss
cost
them.
of the figure that comes. No, I don't miss them either, but maybe pay half the cost of figures that hits the board. You know what I'm saying? Like your
Well,
opponent
yeah, it's
immediately
like
scores.
cool. I called it in. You score the points. It takes a shot. Is it worth it now? Stuff like that.
Right.
I think my original idea, because like 3 years ago, was you can call it in. It doesn't have the like space requirement, but it's on the map. It's not going to get off the map any other way than dying. You called it in for help. It's there to help you, but you got to make it part of your force now. But there were mechanics like hypersonic and stuff like that that just give certain things too much reach. Like in 400 points, I can play the Flash ID card and call in KC Flash. You're never gonna catch it, ever. Right?
Right.
You're not wrong about that. Was that like a 15 hypersonic? You're like,
No, it's like a 17. It's something
17.
stupid. So it's just like, what do you do if I call something in like that, and it can just play the tag game with you for the rest of the game, and you're never gonna touch it?
Right.
You just get annoyed and mad, and then it's not fun anymore. So we're trying. Maybe there is a day where they make a comeback, but it's not anytime soon, I don't think.
Okay. I know that it's just a topic that people are still talking about. Like I said, I'm not going to miss them at all. That's one of the reasons that I didn't even want to play Modern when I started playing, or competitive at least, is because ID cards. So I don't miss them at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely get it.
We also put up just a post on Facebook asking if anyone had questions, so we can kind of get into some of those. I think we honestly covered a lot of stuff that we're already mentioned. So if there's anything you want to add to that, then just let me know. Otherwise, we'll kind of just keep going. So first is Ryan Bookwood, who is asking, well, first he said that we should have brought one of those little fans to the ROC Cup. I don't think a little fan would have helped anything except maybe blow more hot air into your face.
The girl that got the fellowship, she did have a little fan, and she said it didn't work. So
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't see that
Yeah.
doing
Yeah,
enough.
her and Az had little fans, and they were both just still dying.
Yeah.
And then next is they asked about Venom Magneto, so obviously we addressed that. And then this was one that I was pleasantly surprised about, but he asked, were people up to date on their hygiene at the ROC Cup? I don't think anyone actually smelled bad or was dirty.
I have a funny story about this, actually.
What's that?
Yeah, nice.
So I played in the Porter versus the World event because 5 days of judging is mentally exhausting.
Sure.
I was like, I want to have at least some fun while we're here. That was my day off, and I knew better, but enjoyed myself with some beers and stuff from players I hadn't seen in a while. And one of the staff people of Lucky Dice looked at me and they're like, Aaron, you smell like a brewery. And I laughed and I went, it's better than smelling like ass.
That's true.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. And I'm not sure
right. I was like,
how much fun you did
if the
have.
worst thing you can tell me in this heat is I smell like a beer, I'll take it. I
Right,
swear,
yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, that's a good point too. With how
So-
bad it was and everyone was sweating, I don't really think anyone smelt super bad that I couldn't stand being next to them.
And yeah, there was not a game where I was like, wow, I want to finish this faster because you're going to kill me with your odor. But,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was stuff like that. I think for the most part, everyone was staying so hydrated and sweating so much that the body was just not keeping up with what it was supposed to do. It was like, panic mode, panic. So, no, we were all at least hygienic at the cup because I know all of us showered every day.
Actually, that probably helped. Yeah, everyone just had to. It felt like they needed to.
Yes.
McConnell Lamar asks, when are you aiming to finalize any Silver Age changes? You said that's always going to most likely be after rotation, right?
Yeah.
It'll go hand in hand with it? Okay. And then any thoughts towards banning some maps? I'd personally like to see 2x3 maps stay on, but with some bans of problematic maps. You said that's something that you're kind of already working on, right?
Yeah, some of it's already in effect as far as ROC events go, so
Okay. And then,
always check that map list.
oh, actually, that's a good point too. I noticed I did check the map list on the ROC sites. How fast does WizKids update their sites based off of the changes that you guys make on the ROC site?
So anything on the WizKids site has to happen at the same time ours happen, but they don't have a Silver Age map list. That's all an us thing. I just made it out of what's available to give everyone an open field. So anything Silver Age as far as map list goes on the ROC side is probably just me being like, they're there, here you go. Or I have to take these because they were banned in tournaments or they have smaller versions or whatever now.
I think they have a post. If you like Google Silver Age map list, they have a list of maps that are legal for Silver Age on their on the win. I think it is. Right, Miles?
For the map list?
Yeah, I think it's on the win, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's just for modern. I don't remember anywhere besides the ROC site for the silver list.
Yeah, if you go to the win, they have the list of modern age legal maps. They don't have anything for silver.
All right, I'll double check because I am almost sure that they did. All right, and then is there anything on the current ban list that you are considering unbanning? So we kind of already went over that too. Jonathan Virgilio asks, will the silver ban list grow? Silver still seems like the Wild West of cliX. So we talked a little bit about potential changes coming up here. And then second is, what's the general consensus on the 200-200 split? Is it something people prefer or would like changed? I think we talked about that as well. You're pretty set on all of that, I think, right?
Yeah, I think doing it to the sideline will help a little bit more as far as keeping it in the spirit of what we want. But yeah, 400's here to stay. It's the quote I pulled from Lucas is proof enough for me. If it's opening enough for new players to jump in and enjoy what they're building, and meta players can jump in and build stuff, I think I'll just take the stride and be like, we made a format that everybody can play in.
Sure, yeah.
So,
what was the total player count for the silver stuff at the ROC Cup?
Silver Sunday had 60 odd players.
And then
That's pretty
Thursday,
good.
I didn't see.
Yeah,
I don't think. Do they have a number for it? No, it's not on HC units.
Yeah, the regional for Thursday wouldn't be. I want to say it was like 30, 40 players on that Thursday, if I remember
That's
correctly.
That's a pretty good event.
Right, so we're not getting bad numbers, and again, that speaks for the format. If everyone hated it, like the modern meta heads say, no one would show up. Prizing out the butt or not, it wouldn't be that big. It'd be like 20 people. But we have consistent big number of events outside of the two smaller regionals that ran like a week before the cup happened, which is what it is. But like even my Chattanooga event I ran, I had almost 30-something players. And that was the real first regional under the new format. So I think we're in the right spot. It's shell shock.
Sure, yeah.
400. Oh no, what is that? No, it's so drastically different, and there are a lot of things that can happen in it. But
kind of like what you were saying
it
is that
breathes.
a lot of people that
Yeah.
were negative about it, they were less negative about it when they came and actually did have a good time.
Right. So, like I'll talk to Az all the time about silver, and he's very against 400. But even after he played it, this is good. This is fun. He's still vocal about a couple things, but he also knows he can come and talk to me, which is the bigger point I think overall for the format is I'm not just some nameless employee, and I know we all know a lot of the WizKids guys, but it is really easy to get my attention on any of the HeroClix pages. Like, here's Silver Age, and I usually post, hey, I'm just here for the comments. I want to see what they say.
Right, and you're very open to feedback, which is huge.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And it leads to better player feelings, interactions. I'm just going to keep doing it, and we'll get there. It is going to take some time to get it just right, but you can't say nobody's trying.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Can't.
John's third question is, if Tri-Sentinel was banned, who would have won, and why would it have still have been Lucas Tom Van Holland?
I actually had hoped Lucas would respond, but
He did not.
yeah, I know, right? The Tri-Sentinels being banned, had they been banned for whatever reason before Mutt's Tomb had dropped, we just find new things that do the same thing. Maybe you're not getting Pulse Wave for 6 like Crampton did that one game, which was rough. But you're still going to run into the Prime Hulk, who's going to be a monster and score up stuff. And, I mean, a Mutt's Tomb in Modern is still as broken as I'll get out, because in reality, I can running shot, destroy a piece of blocking. That's 2 actions.
Right.
That's 2 clues. Right?
Yeah.
So, I don't even have to play Tri-Sentinels for that thing to fire. So maybe it's just a new figure. I don't know what figure that is, but I don't think that build changes a lot without them, minus the pulse wave part. And yeah, that's controversial to say, but it's because it was pulse wave and blowing up blocking and the mystery card and, all these other things that made them just go, all right, we ate your build. Have a good day. but I also think that there were some players that had the weapons in their builds to beat it that got taken out by their silver bullet.
Yeah.
So I definitely saw some builds. It was like, if that hits Lucas, he's going to be hurting. And they just never lined up.
What team do you feel like was the next that did not include a Tri-Sentinel was the next like just strongest overall team?
I'll give Miles his roses. I think that Starro trick would have surprised a lot more people.
Yeah.
And the Ivy build. Oh boy, was that fun to watch.
It was not fun to play against.
Yeah, I heard. It was like, how outside of left field was that? I'm ready for anything. Ivies and plant markers and oh no. Yeah, it was just like he made a Lions, Tigers, and Bears team and no one was prepared for it. Except the thing that could beat it, right? So I mean, HeroClix is still paper, rock, scissors. It's just paper, rock, scissors, Spock. We got that extra because we have 400 points. I know I'm a nerd. I said it. But that's kind of where I'm at with that. It's like we had so much.
Right. Yeah.
And I was really happy to see the variations and builds.
I think Josafa's Avengers team that was kind of some of his detective stuff was still pretty good. He's been playing that Hawkeye and Hawkeye, I think, for a little bit. So I know it's probably a cop-out to say it was the next best team because it's literally the second place team. But yeah, I think that one was really good.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. And Joe is a monster when he's focused.
Caleb Reddick asks, when can we expect to see states events? So that's not totally a silver question. I'm guessing you cannot get into that at all, correct?
That's not right. I'm still the rock judge. So the original game plan was to have 2 states events this year, one for silver, one for modern.
Mm-hmm.
We were waiting on prizing for silver to hit, and it just didn't hit fast enough. I know they're on track for the modern version of states, and we are looking at between June and July, but that may change. And that's just logistics on bigger events and everything else involved.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I know Howard was talking to WizKids today. Maybe we get some new updates on his next stream, or if I get told something I can say, I'll just make a post where everybody can see it. Like, look, guys, it's coming. It's around here. We got our pricing finalized. So.
All right, cool. Yeah, I know he mentioned on last week's stream that it was going to be announced either in a week or week and a half, the dates. But
so that is definitely probably that conversation he had today then.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. It's around the corner then. And then Jeff Dumas asks, did the silver tournament turn out how you had hoped? We kind of went over to that. Do you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
No, I think it was right on par. I was very happy we had 60 players. Like, that, again, speaks volume for the format.
Absolutely. Edward K., we kind of talked about this too. How do you all feel about silver going to 300 with 150 points silver and 150 points modern?
I'll leave that one up to y'all. I've been kind of vocal about the 400s.
I think personally, I like more pieces. I just think it's easier to break at 400. I wouldn't mind after rotation because of all the lower point pieces coming in. I think it would be neat to try the 300 with 150 and 150. But I mean, to me, I like to have fun with more pieces. So I just think it's going to be easier to break at 400 points when a lot of stuff enters silver after rotation. What about you guys?
Yeah, I'm a little sad about Mad Gem, but yeah, there's other routes to take, and I do understand with him bringing in the 30-point objects. I was actually surprised that he wasn't worded sort of like the time platform where it's 10 points or less for the power action.
Peter, Dan.
As for me, I'm just interested to see where it goes from here, because I mean, you have a bunch of data now that you can try to use and make improvements to. So I'm curious to see where it goes. From what I heard from people, it was a lot of good, but there was like a bit of a mixed bag sometimes too. But again, it's like it's an evolving format, so there's always like room to make improvements or adjustments. So, but I definitely think the format can be good, and it's certainly interesting from like a design and like team building aspect for sure.
And I guess I honestly should add that it really comes down to just having an active ban list and not being afraid to make it big, just so that it's not broken. But obviously, that's what you're doing.
I think from a strictly like observer standpoint, like I think it's in a good spot. I think obviously the people involved with Silver are very passionate, including Aaron. And I think that's a good thing. You had 60 people show up at an event in the middle of sweltering heat in Alabama playing with air conditioning. I don't know. That's a question, not a statement. So it's in a good spot, for that. I don't have any great insight into it. Like going down to 300 feels like you're going to push out a lot of older pieces, even with new lower point stuff coming in. And maybe I misunderstood Aaron, but I think one of the things is to have the ability to play higher pointed pieces without a severe penalty. Or did I misunderstand that?
No, you're 100%. I want to see those figures. Like, if I want to be an insane person and show up with a 200-point Avengers Defenders War Hulk chase and be like, I'm going to figure it out. Why can't I do that? In 300 point, I can't do that because there's not enough support. But at 400, I have a shot. And so, I don't know, I guess that it harkens back to when I learned cliX. Like, yeah, I showed up and played the local events at the normal points, but when I really learned how to play, I was doing 1,000-point deathmatch games. And it was just like, bring the biggest things you got, we're going to fight. And let's just do it until we learn how to play this game. And they were fun. And then before I even got really involved doing anything for the ROC had 400 limited. And it went over well. So why are we, like, outside of the new stuff being smaller with range, smaller with different powers, where's the reversion that we went from liking this to not?
I think it's the power creep. The amount of stuff that you get for the points. I understand he's a prime, but for a perfect example is like Prime Colossus at 80 points. Like,
Oh yeah,
like that's the perfect example of like the power creep of like how 50 points is like the new norm. I think if it was 75 points, like you're saying, like with the Wolverines and stuff, I think that would change. But it's 400 points because we did do the modern 3v3. Was just ridiculous the amount of stuff that you could throw on those teams.
right.
I
don't know.
Oh, do you have something else you wanted to add?
So, yeah, real fast. I know we're getting late.
Sure, you're good.
Yeah, did I lose it? No. Ha! Hold on, let me check. Well, I remember to bring it up. We can keep going.
All right. And then we also have William Holland asks, what are some meta pieces coming out of Deadpool and Weapon X? We're going to do our set reviews in a week or two. We'll probably break it down into the common, uncommon, rare, and then super rare and everything else after that. So just keep posted for those to get released, and we'll talk about those in another episode. Last one for Silver, though, is God Emperor Doom going to make a scene in the 400-point Silver? Was he on any teams?
Not at the Cup, but so my buddy is a huge Doom fan, and for the regional in Chattanooga, I made him a stupid God Doom build, and his dice just crap the bed. Just straight up. I was like, you have every chance in the world to do good with this, and it just didn't happen. I still want him to try it. If I can find the link, I'll share it with you guys. But it was just God Doom doing God Doom things, and with the ability to turn off equipment and hit you really hard, I was like, even if he gets outnumbered, I think he could still be okay.
Was he at 300?
And it just didn't. I had a 200 and a 300 version. The 200 had Agatha with him, which makes him hit harder, right?
Sure.
So it's just like, I don't know what went wrong there, but
Do you remember
yeah,
what pieces were on the 300 point version?
300 point was, I think he played Doom still at, no, he played him at 100, and he had just like all the support he could get, and I was like, that's not gonna do it. Because there is a way to overpower him at 100, I think, but 2 and 3 is harder.
Okay.
Yeah, the 100 points is tough because he's 4 clicks deep, no stop click.
Yeah, and
Wait,
so
wait,
you get a 2.
Wait, he has 2 stop clicks though. What do you like?
Oh, those are stops. Yeah, those are stop clicks. Never mind. Yeah,
The equipment change made him stronger because now he's got a hell cycle or whatever he needs, and I don't know. It's kind of like the world breaker thing. Somebody will figure it out, and you're gonna have 100 points of God Doom support, and you're just gonna mow some people down because they're gonna play these 50-point figures that don't have deep dials, and God Doom's gonna laugh.
Yeah, I'd
So
like to see it.
maybe someday, right? It's like maybe someday those will hit that spot where it is. Yeah, these figures for 50 points are great, but we still have these monster cannons back here in silver that are just looking at you and laughing.
Which a handful like him never even really got the chance to play just because of like COVID and a lot of the events just not happening. So that would be an awesome piece to actually see get some play and do well.
Yeah, because I mean it's a good piece. It's not like it's I mean it's great. So
yeah,
it's always a dice game. I mean, you can have every plan in the world, and then you still got to roll the dice on the table. And yeah, that's normally where my problems start and end. Is the dice.
So that's going to wrap up all the Silver Age focus that we had planned. But now on to our 2-day event in July. So that's Saturday the 20th and Sunday the 21st. Saturday will be a 300 Modern, and then Sunday will be a 2v2 400 Silver Age theme event. We're going to be running with the potential updated bench and ban list changes that we mentioned earlier. So all that information is going to be on the Win event page, and that event page is live in the Win. We're still waiting on finalizing our prizes and entry fees and all that. Once we do that, then we'll start getting those details posted around. But definitely save the date. We already have a lot of people that are signing up for it, and we're probably going to have to cap the event at least 40. There's a chance that if it fills up fast enough that we'll be able to extend that a little bit, but definitely take a look at those if you're able to on the Win. We'll be posting the links and all that stuff pretty soon though. And then last is this Saturday is our monthly invitational match. This month is Soldier, so everyone has to make a 300-point team with only pieces that have the Soldier keyword. Ryan Rios, who plays with us, he won the last month and got to pick a figure that only he can use and no one else can. So he selected the Batman Team Up Deathstroke, so no one else can build with that. And then the special rules for this one is basically something random happens after each round, similar to like a war battlefield type thing. And then like for example, there's bombing runs that could happen where damage happens either down a row or a column, or there could be like a supply drop with equipment in it, or something that allows you to heal a click, something like that. And then if you watched our last one, we have a just to kind of stop camping and keep the action moving as more pieces die, we kind of have the a storm move in and the borders so that you can't just hang out on the outside. And so we're trying something a little bit new this time, and with the storm it's going to keep moving, and then it's going to actually lead to just a final zone that's not even going to be open until I think it's like turn 10. So it'll be a little bit different, but it's always been fun to do these every month. Aaron, did you build something if you were playing in that, a 300 points soldier team?
I did, and I think I did it according to your not erratas, but restrictions. So the older stuff, like with the non-dial cards, are half off, basically, right?
Correct. Yeah, the oldest ones.
Okay. So then I'm looking at where's my calculator? Find my build thing real fast. All right, so first figure on the build, I'm gonna go with Pegasus Cap. Pegasus Cap at full with the Skybreaker. And then I'm going into Balls of Fury, Nick Fury with the motorcycle equipped. So that's 75 points altogether for that guy now, which is wild. The Age of Ultron, 102 Captain America. So he basically can do close attacks within 6 squares. And I gave him the Power Gem. So he's 50 points, 60 with the Power Gem. And then 2 of the Atom Colossal Retaliators at 15 points apiece.
All right. Yeah, the what was the it's Future Past in January that Balls of Fury saw play in, and it's one of those things where the teams kind of balance out each other. So yeah, he's only 60 points, but his dial still is a little bit tricky with some of the newer stuff, but he was instrumental in taking out Dan's Time Spidey. So sometimes those pieces really do make a huge difference.
Darn you, Fury.
But I like it. Miles, what about you? Did you build something if you were going to be playing?
Yes. I went with the 120 point Vengeance Chase. I love Vengeance, and I'm like, oh crap, he's got Soldier, so I'm putting him on there.
Oh, the new one does?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. And yeah, I love the piece, so I'd have to throw him on there. And then I got the Batman Team Up Peacemaker with the Peacemaker's helmet, 40 points with the 40-point Captain America Pegasus Cap with Skybreaker. The new Cable with the Cloak of Levitation and the Spin Ring. So that way you're able to, TK someone up 4, sidestep, and then you can also free place them up again for that. And then Isaiah Bradley with the Fast Forces with the motorcycle, the one that you have to kill twice at the Colossal Stamina. Just send him out there and see what he can do. Yeah, it's mainly just I want to play that Vengeance. So yeah, I would be building around Vengeance 100% for Soldier. I think he has tons of potential in a fun environment like this.
I had Lilith Prime bring him in our Mystical game last year, and everybody just basically jumped on him and destroyed him pretty quick. But I do like him. It's a very cool sculpt, and he does some cool stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be live streaming the whole game all day. Miles is going to be on for a lot of it, just giving away some of the Peacemaker helmets that Jonathan Virgilio made for us. I'm going to post a post kind of showing those off again, and then we're going to do a poll, and then all the winners of the poll are going to be added to a drawing. We're going to give away an Iconics Peacemaker Project Butterfly box set. So check us out this weekend. I'd like to thank Aaron for coming on. We'd love to have you on again. How'd you feel like it went?
I think I'm good. I know I'm long-winded. Other than that, I wanted to get information out. Like, there's so much going on with Silver. There's so much going on in the game right now. It is nice that someone on the rules side is public. I think it gives players the ability to interact more and feel like they're heard. So I definitely want to keep that going as much as I can.
Yeah, and like the players, obviously they appreciate that like communication, and they want to know that things are changing and that it's not just falling upon deaf ears. So I think it's really appreciated. And that's why we wanted to have you on for sure too, because I am excited for the format, and I kind of wanted to see what else you had to say about it, and just see where it's going. So so thanks for coming on and joining us and sharing a lot with us. We appreciate that. And then thanks for joining us, guys, and we will be back again next week. See you later.
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya!
Click it!